Welcome back to the International Leadership Podcast. Once again, this is episode 9 of the International Leadership Podcast. My name is Joe Beauchamp. I am the founder of Beauchamp Team Growth Solutions. Today we have a very special guest coming to us from Ecuador. This is Vanessa Pena. And Vanessa, why don't you just say hello and greet our audience?
Hi, Joe. Thank you for the invitation, and hello to everybody from Ecuador. I'm here to have a great moment with Joe and talking about some of leadership. So let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the International Leadership Podcast. Leadership principles are applicable worldwide. Good leadership principles can be applied to your own life. Everyone is a leader. Self-leadership, which Vanessa is one of the proponents of, self-leadership first, is an important part of leadership. And everyone can lead themselves. You can lead your family. If you can have an influence on the people around you, you are a leader. So a lot of people don't consider themselves leaders, but we want to just let everybody know that you are a leader. You do influence the people around you. You influence your world, whether you're the CEO of a major corporation or a mom of 2 kids or something like that, or anywhere in between. This show is for you, and we hope that you gain some really good leadership strategies and mindsets from this episode today. I'm very enthusiastic to interview Vanessa today. It's wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Kevin, by the way, behind the scenes, the wonders of modern technology to be able to bring us together from between Ecuador, and I'm in New York State here in the USA. So Vanessa, why don't you give us a little bit of background about yourself? How'd you get to where you are today?
Well, I'm in Ecuador, and in Ecuador I own hotels. This is a family business, and I've been leading this business since I'm on my 20s. Right now I'm on my 47 years old, and
Happy birthday.
like,
Happy birthday. Your birthday was recent.
yeah. And 8 years ago, I decided to go into Maxwell Leadership team because of some needs that appears in my family. My dad died, and some other things happens in the family when he died with the business. And I found out that I was needing to make some changes in me. Specifically because I noticed that when I have more conscious of who I was, when I have more conscious of my emotional part, I lead in another way. I found out that because when my dad died, then my mom got sick, some things in the family start happening, and there were a lot of troubles, and the way I have to solve all these problems that were appearing was different. I have to stop and look at them in another way that I was used to do it. And
Right.
the life makes me change. What was happening in the moment made me change. In that moment, I already was study some of PNL. Do you ever heard about it?
Profit and loss.
NLP is in English. Yeah, sorry.
Neuro-linguistic.
Sorry. So
Okay.
then I got in a training with Richard Bandler in US, and I found out that the way that I was thinking and the way that I manage my emotional wasn't the best way, and that I can do it in another way. And that works a lot for me to lead in another way. In that moment, I didn't call it, I didn't know what was lead, leading people.
Right.
I just
Leadership. Yeah.
start uh, learning about emotional part and how my words influence in the way that I think.
Right.
And then I learned a lot of more things about emotions and how to manage them, how the emotions are this filter that makes us see the reality in the way of the emotions that are we feeling right
Yeah.
now in that moment. And then I got to
So there's, so
Maxwell.
let's just jump in for a second and talk about a little bit about the brain, emotions, and neuro-linguistic programming. So the the base the basic understanding of neuro-linguistic programming is that our brain can change how it thinks based upon training it in a certain way, because they would say the while the neurons might be there, they're going to grow new connections based upon training of your brain. So if you think in certain patterns, your brain generally tends to think in those patterns, but then you can train it to think in new patterns and see the world in a different way. And one of the things that people don't understand is that our emotions change our perspective, our perception of reality. So we perceive reality different based upon our emotional state. And if we can understand that, and then we can also understand that we can change the way we think, we can change our emotional state and change our perception of reality, and then really change our reality from there.
Yes, and also one thing that I found really interesting in NLP is the linguistic part, is that we can hear our emotions or the way we are observing our reality while we are speaking. So everything can change when you use another word. That's something that really works.
Yeah.
And then I got to Maxwell theme because I start searching for a place where I can learn all of this, uh, but and I can teach to leaders because that was working for me as a leader in my hotels. So then I got
Yeah.
into Maxwell, I started learning, and I brought all of this new knowledge into my companies, and everything started changing. And it was really good for me because before before I got into this new knowledge, the way that I thought about doing business, it was I need to be doing everything. Like I have to manage
Yeah.
everything. I have to control everything. And
Now,
that's
how many
the
people did you have working for you at the hotels?
and that time I have 60 because there
Yeah.
we used to have 3 hotels in that time. Then right now I have only 2 hotels, and after pandemia we have to make a lot of changes. Right now I have 21.
21 employees.
Yeah, so a lot of
Yeah.
things
So 21
happens.
employees,
Yeah.
60 employees, that's a lot of employees. Try to manage by yourself. And that's where good leadership comes in,
Yeah.
because good leaders, we can, we understand from the teachings of John Maxwell that leaders develop leadership in others. And when you can
Yeah.
develop other leaders on your team, now you have a multiple people who can carry the weight together. And it's not just on your shoulders, your team is carrying the weight, and they're all making good decisions. They're solving problems. They are they're able to think on their own and do things on their own, and execute for the company according to your standards, because they know what to do, they know how to do it, they know why to do it, because you've
Yeah.
developed their leadership.
Yeah, and also people start bringing new ideas. Sometimes that when the leader wants to control everything, all the ideas that are created as a team just depends in that leader. And we all as human,
Right.
we have our topics the
Lid. The law of the lid.
okay. So when you start developing leaderships, that's the way that I work right now. Everybody in the hotels knows about leadership, about the principle of leadership. They all know about the capacity that that they have as leaders of their life first to influence in another person. So the communication change,
Yeah.
the way we talk to others, the it's the best thing that I ever learned because of the how can we see people develop inside, not only inside the company but also in their life. Most of
Yeah.
them, they are happy because they everything that they learn here, not only working, but everything they learn about leadership, leading their life, leading the role that they have inside the company, then they apply it in their own life, and there's a difference. So I have a good story.
I love that.
When I start in this, I make a mastermind in one of the books of the John Maxwell, the green one. In I don't remember in English, but in Spanish is Las 15 leyes indispensables del crecimiento.
The 15 indispensable laws of growth.
That one. So I made a mastermind of that one with my leaders in that time. And one day we were reading the law of dolor, la ley del dolor,
Law.
la ley del dolor.
Dolor,
Eh,
but
but
law. The
okay,
law.
the law
LA.
of love pain. Is that
No, no,
the
no. Which law?
that one, the law of, but that's not the name in English. The law of la ley del dolor, the one
The
that
law of
makes.
pain. Yeah, it's pain, suffering,
Okay,
pain,
so
discomfort.
that's the law that suggests you to go and see those moments that has been difficult for you and learn about it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Embrace discomfort.
okay, so one of the leaders that joined to the mastermind, he didn't want to come, but I told him, because he didn't believe on these things, in these things of self-development and
Yeah,
all those things in that moment. But I invited him and I told him, come on, just try it. If it doesn't work, okay, you won't lose anything more than reading a new book.
right.
So he we were reading it, and everybody has to read it at home. So one day he was reading it in his home, and his daughter comes to him and asks him, Dad, what are you reading? What is that you are reading? And he told her that he was studying. And her daughter say, but you already go to the university, why you are studying? And he answered, no, this is something that I'm studying but at work. Oh, okay. So what is that you're reading? And he answered, um, this is about this says something about that when you make a mistake, you don't have to run away and just decide to not try it again. This is about trying again and again and again, even when sometimes it doesn't feel comfortable what you are doing because you feel bad or sad. And he told him, she. So this is just like when you are learning to read and you don't want to continue trying because you can do it. And her daughter say, oh, so if I want to learn this, I have to try it and try it and try and do it again. And his dad says yes. So since that moment, his daughter never cry again because she was reading. So that used to be a problem for him, but that problem disappeared.
Yeah.
So this mastermind, this moment where we were reading this book, make a change in his home
Yeah.
and make him feel better about being that, and that feeling, that those emotions make him a better person in the hotel and
Yeah.
in his work. So when
And
I
he
when
became a
I
believer in
yeah,
self-development
yeah,
too, right? Like
yeah,
he understood
yeah, yeah, yeah.
self-development actually
Yeah.
works.
We read two
I love it.
books. He really loved that, and he changed a lot. Right, he's not working anymore with us, but he went. Right now, he's working in bigger companies in Ecuador, and he's he's really he's growing in those companies.
Yeah.
And I have always this memory, this experience about leadership. This is a little story, but in every place you are, wherever you are, if you got this idea of how can I change, how can I work on myself to grow, and you're gonna be a better leader, and people around you will change also, not only in your company, but also in your family,
Yeah.
sometimes your friends, and everything that I'm telling is influence.
Yeah. From there. A better
Yes,
you
and
makes it better everything.
what you just said is not, it wasn't that Jefferson, his name is Jefferson, makes his daughter to read a book. He wasn't, so I'm gonna teach you how to do this, and he didn't start reading the book to his daughter. He was being leadership. He was being that
Yeah.
that that is also studying and learning and opening to change, and by influence, her daughter decide to change also. So
Yeah.
I really like that part of leadership. That's why I really believe what says John Maxwell about leadership is influence. So
Yeah.
so simple, so simple, so simple.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what other kind of what were some of the hurdles that you faced with the hotels, like maybe during COVID? Like how did you use good leadership principles or additional leadership principles to overcome some of your hurdles, some of the challenges that you faced with the hotel, especially during COVID?
Yeah, all of them are really related to what I just told you, because I believe if I haven't worked with leaders in the way that I just told you, things will be really difficult. So when COVID come, we didn't know how to do it, to work as a hotel. We don't know how to receive people in the hotel because we don't know anything about what was happening. If it was really dangerous, I don't know. Maybe some of people that are watching right now ask. There were a lot of notice of news about Guayaquil, bad news, really bad news. So it was really difficult.
Hmm.
But in that moment, everybody in the hotel knew the principle for leaderships.
Sorry.
So the way we were
Sorry.
working, it was okay from leaders. If we are all leaders, how we are going to change this reality for us. And we make our team uh, and change all of we create new protocols how to work in the hotel. We change everything. And
So good problem solving, thinking ahead, positive mindsets, all those things,
yes,
all those aspects
also
of leadership.
how to talk to people, because there was a lot of people that were scared. So
Yeah,
it was different the way we have to treat people. And
right,
also, uh, all the team, we forget about our roles, our typical roles, and everybody learn everything. So
oh, good,
in those moments, you can find me maybe cleaning a room or helping in the kitchen. We just start taking a lot of new roles because some of the members of the team were really scared and they can't work.
right,
So we decide to the ones that were more scared to give places where they won't be too exposed to
right,
people, and the other ones that we were in another emotional way, we just go to the front as
yeah,
a war. Yeah, uh, it was difficult times, but I always say that because of leadership and everything that we were learning as a team in the hotels, it was different to take these difficult moments.
yeah.
Yes.
So let's talk about one of the things that you talk a lot about is self leadership, and you talk about a lot about happiness, right? So your website is um, El Mundo de los Felices, correct? Did I get that correct? So the world of happiness, world of happy people. Um, so let me just see if it's yeah.
Yes, el mundo de los felices.
Um, so tell me more about happiness. Like, why happiness? Why is happiness so important?
When I start this working as a coach, I decide to create this space because as I find that most people don't believe in happiness or felicidad here in Ecuador. And most people think that happiness is to be always smiling, and that's not happiness. That's it's a difference in English than in Spanish, because happiness can, I think in Spanish is felicidad, felicidad, and alegría. How you say alegría in English?
Gladness.
Gladness. So alegría is an emotion where you smile, where you, but that doesn't mean that you are in happiness. It could be, but maybe not. So you can have the emotion, the sad emotion, a sad emotion, but that doesn't mean that you are not, that you can experience your happiness. So
Hmm.
that's why as I start in this, when you live your happiness, that is more connected to a peaceful way of living, a way where you can watch uh, the experience that surround you in another way, and not just like uh, suffering scenes. They all can be some scenes that give that brings to you information of how can you live in another way your life, but you have to feel the happiness to
Right.
do this. So right now I start with happiness, and I've been like going into an evolution of what I'm teaching, and I got into self leadership that you just mentioned. And right now, something that I love to share is about 5 keys to create extraordinary realities through self leadership. That is something that maybe is aligned to to happiness. And
Let's do them. You
this
want to share it with our audience? 5 keys.
so to create extraordinary realities through self leadership. So we are right now creating realities. This is a reality that I'm creating in my life since you sent me the message, and you asked me to join to this podcast. I thought a lot because I have to do it in English, and I'm really good talking in the Spanish. So I said,
I
"Oh
did tell
my God,
you you're welcome to share in English and Spanish if you'd like. We do have an
yeah."
international
But
audience. And we
I
all
told
kind
you, no,
of-
I want to do it in English. I'm gonna do it in English. I know that you can
yeah,
translate
you're very
what
brave.
I'm saying, but it's because I believe in this thing what I'm sharing, that you can create your reality. And the 5 keys, the first one are the thoughts. If I want to
Mm.
create reality, I want to become um, an international conference that I believe I am, but I want one day to speak in English to a lot of people. But if I want
Maybe
that,
I'll invite you to
I
one of my
have,
international conferences.
I have to erase the thought that I can't speak in English, because I know English. But the thing is that when I started speaking English, there's a lot of words in Spanish that are going through my mind and
Yeah.
wants to go out and make some fun and being Vanessa in Spanish. But I'm in creation right now. So I have to be aware of the thoughts that are not non useful to what I want to create right now. That is speaking to you in English and share these 5 keys to create extraordinary realities through self leadership to all the ones that are watching us. Because every
I just
one
want
of
to
you,
let me say to our listening audience here, or our viewing audience, that that Vanessa was one of the masters of ceremonies at an international leadership conference down in Canada. That conference with probably, what would you say, there was 1 to 2,000 other people that attended? How many thousand people were there in 2022? Do you remember
yeah,
how many? Do you remember how many people attended the conference? Like 2,000 people were there.
yes, 2000.
Yeah, so around 2,000 people, and Vanessa did an excellent job in Spanish, and now she wants to do that in English, which is amazing. And I would love to be an international speaker at some point in time, speaking in Spanish to the Latin community. And my Spanish is nowhere near as good as your English. So, but maybe one of these days maybe I'll be in Ecuador, speaking in Spanish on leadership.
Yeah, I would love that. So this is some creation that you want to create, that we can create, that we are starting in a creation.
Yeah,
So so these are the 5 keys. The first one that are the thoughts, to identify what are my unuseful thoughts, and the one that are useful for my creation. The second one is the communication, and this is the challenge for me right now, because it's not in my language, but I can do it if
yeah,
I go slow. So in communication is how I listen, how I ask, how I do questions, and how I make affirmations or declarations about who I am. And
mm,
all of that I'm doing while I'm speaking with you. While
yes,
you are asking me things, then I go and start thinking in new things. And on this point is just what we were talking about NLP. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So the third key is the possibilities, all the possibilities that we can create while we are speaking and while we are taking some decisions, and not only thinking about the decisions that I want to take, but going into action. The fourth key is the commitment, having that commitment of doing it. It doesn't happen. It doesn't matter what happens, but I have to do it. So
Right.
just to have this meeting, I thought a lot because I didn't know how it's gonna work. But I'm
So far,
here
so good.
doing my best. And the last one is going into action. So this keys, if that every day, everyone that is watching us right now, everybody, to create the reality that are having as experience today, we are all going to this keys. The thing is, take the keys and use them intentionally and create something that you want in your life. And in leadership, that is something that I was about to share you about my in my country. I just read it in the Instagram before I got into here, that the president of the assembly here, the assembly just accept a law where young people, children's in schools have to learn about their emotions, intelligence, emotional intelligence, and financial
Wow.
education since you are a children. So this is
It's
what
amazing.
leaders do, creation. So
Yeah.
for me, leadership is influence, and leadership is creation every moment, every minute, every breath in your life. Since you open your eyes, you are in creation. And if you can do that, you are leading your
Yeah.
influence in someone. First in you, and then when you start walking on your day, you're influencing a lot of people. So the question for everybody is, what is that? What is that what you're thinking, what is your creation in your life, and that all the creations of each one of each person in a society, if we join all of them, that is what is the country or the society. So sometimes when I see maybe some leaders taking decisions where I'm not agree about that, and I can't do anything about that because I'm in another place. What I think is, okay, what am I creating? How can I be the part of the society or the country that makes the things different? And then I go
Yeah.
into my thoughts, my communication, my possibilities, my commitment, and my action. If I want to change things, so I want things different in my life, in the world, okay, how can I start doing that? And then that is why I do what I do. That's why I'm a leadership coach, because I believe that I can make a difference when I teach things like this, and not only teaching, not only speaking people to people, but only being leadership.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I've been speaking a lot because on the topic of happiness, and I'm going to run through some of those 5 of your principles there. I read a book called The Happiness Advantage, which was recommended by one of my clients, actually. And it's an amazing book. I've read a few books on happiness so far, and happiness is actually a strategy for success. We often think, hey, when I'm successful, then I'll be happy. But the reality is, if I'm happy, I'm much more likely to become successful. And the way that it works in our brains is that when we're happier, it makes our brain more calm and peaceful, less stress, less cortisol, and it activates the part of our brain that can do problem solving, that can think creatively, and that can engage with other people in a more in a better relationship. So better relationships, better problem solving, and more creativity creates better solutions to our problems. So that goes into our thinking. So a lot of times people will say, like, that's impossible, that can't happen, we can't do that, they'll never change, or those kind of things. And by changing our thinking to open up that possibility of something different happening, right? So leaders see a different future than we have now. They see a better future and pathway through which they can get there, right? And so that comes into there's a possibility, right? I'm going to open up my thinking to a possibility of a better world, a better future. I'm going to communicate in a way that matches that. I'm going to stop saying that's impossible, or I'm stupid, or this is terrible, or I hate this, or I can't stand this, or those all those negative words that we speak. We're going to start saying the positive words instead, which is going to help us it's going to kind of reinforce our thinking as well. So we're going to be thinking differently. We're going to open up this possibility. We're going to be speaking differently. And then now it's time to jump into those commitments, right? What are we committing to? If we don't commit to anything, there's no change in action. If we don't do anything differently, we're not going to get a different result, not a better result anyway. And so I think that's a perfect 5-step plan. 5 is simple and easy enough. God gave us 5 fingers for a reason. And so it's a 5-step plan to really change. It's not just self-leadership, but it's world leadership. It's really anything. We create a ripple effect in the world around us. Like the people that we can influence, even here on this podcast, everyone who listens to this podcast can be influenced by the thoughts and ideas and the mindsets, even hopefully the energy level, the enthusiasm that you and I both have for leadership and making the world a better place. They're going to take that and they're going to make their lives better, their businesses better, their families better, and those people are then going to ripple effect out even further. And so that will have an exponential impact on the world. This is why we have the International Leadership Podcast, leaders from around the world. And I'm so happy to hear that in Ecuador, they're actually paying attention to emotional well-being of our students. It's easy enough for students to learn how to manage their emotions, how to recognize their emotions, how to have the emotional state that they choose to have, and not an emotional state that's dictated by our circumstances. I hope that someday we here in America can do the same thing. I hope that every country in the world trains our young people on how to manage our emotions. I hope that every adult can learn how to manage and regulate our emotions, to be more resilient, to be more forgiving, to be more empathetic, to be more compassionate on the people around us, right? Which all requires us to calm that emotional brain down, to get rid of that cortisol in our brain, and to live a healthy, peaceful, have a healthy, peaceful mind, which will allow us to be creative and better problem solvers, and more empathetic and more compassionate, more loving, more kind, better relationships, and better lives in general. And that's the results I'm sure that you see. That's the results as we coach people on how to manage their emotions, on what I call emotional fitness. As we coach people on emotional fitness, their whole life gets better, their effectiveness, their influence gets better.
Emotional fitness. I like that one.
Thank you. How do people get in touch with people podcasts from around the world, and they're going to say, you know what, I need to get a hold of Vanessa Pena. I need her out here in my country to go speak to my people or my company. How do people get in touch with you?
Okay, you can write to me to my email, that is vanessa@elmundodelosfelices.com. But it's better if you can search me in Instagram. Soy Vanessa P. There I am every time, every day. And on LinkedIn, you can find me also as Vanessa Pena, a leadership coach.
Very nice. And any parting words that you want to say, any parting wisdom that you want to give to our listening audience? Anything that I neglected to ask you that you're like, you know what, I really want to say this?
Okay, I just want to say that everyone that is listening right now, us, is creating something. So just be aware of what you are creating, observe yourself, listen to people. When we listen to the people, not to judge people, but just to listen and serve, we can learn a lot about why what we think about us.
Yeah.
And that's part of the creation of your creation. So there you can start watching what you are creating. When we judge too much outside, there's a lot about us. There's a lot that is saying about us. So you have to listen about you. Um, you will find a lot that you are creating, and sometimes we are creating things that we don't want in our life. And yesterday, I just have a meeting. I speak to 100 people in Panama, from Panama, Mexico, and we were speaking about these 5 keys. And I was telling them that sometimes we want to create some things that we are already, but the only thing is that we never thought about that. No, we never thought about ourselves in that way, and that's why we believe we don't have that creation right now.
Hmm.
So this is really interesting because when you start listening to yourself, when you start listening and serving others intentionally, and when you have this this uh, this feeling of being in creation, uh, you will enjoy more your life. You will feel more
Yeah.
happiness,
Yeah.
and you can be whoever you want to be when we are speaking about our own values. That's Joe. Thank you very much for this conversation.
Well, thank you so much, Vanessa, for joining us and for sharing your wisdom and your experiences. Um, and so, to our listening audience, if you want to find Vanessa, you're going to find her on Instagram at Soy Vanessa P, on LinkedIn, El Mundo de los Felices.com. And of course, you can always contact me and I would get you in touch with her if you need to. So I'm Joe Beauchamp.
Yes.
You can find me at beauchampteam.com. My email address is info@beauchampteam.com. If you're around the country, around the world, and you would like to be on this podcast, feel free to shoot me an email at info@beauchampteam.com. I'm more than happy to listen. Listen first. Leadership is what I say. And as you heard from Vanessa as well, listening is one of the first steps in leadership. So listen to your audience. So I'd be happy to listen to you and hear what you have to say and be happy to see if you fit into the International Leadership Podcast. So Vanessa, once again, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. And to our listening audience, thanks for joining in. Once again, my name is Joe Beauchamp. This is the International Leadership Podcast, and we'll be back on next week. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Well, that was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching our podcast of the International Leadership Podcast. Once again, my name is Joe Beauchamp, president and founder of Beauchamp Team Growth Solutions. That's beauchampteam.com. If you like this episode, please like it, share it, subscribe to this channel. If you're interested in being a guest or a sponsor of this program, please give me an email at info@beauchampteam.com. I'm more than happy to talk to you about it and discuss options and how it can work something out for everyone to win. Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Bye.